Welcome to Double Barrel Non-Duality on the Simply Always Awake channel. We do this approximately once a month. Well, we do it exactly once a month, but the date changes. So we do this live for sustaining members and above on my channel. So there's people who donate money every month to keep this channel going and all the fun stuff we do. But one of the perks is that I do a Double Barrel live every month, and then I also do a live on YouTube every month. The Double Barrel I do with a guest. So we will answer your questions in tandem or in turns, depending on how things roll. But today, the guest is someone I've known for quite some time. She's been a channel member for quite some time, and I've just watched her mature so much in the realization process, and her clarity and heart and articulate nature is so too good to pass up. And I wanted her to come interact with y'all. And her name is Pamela. Hi, Pamela.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, let's do it. And then also for anyone who is watching now, I'll also say this at the end. I'll have Pamela's links underneath the video once it releases and so forth, so you can get a hold of her or see her stuff. All right, let's go to the top. The first hand is Micah. Uh, what's going on?
Hey, Angela.
Hey.
Pamela, nice to meet you.
You too.
Um, yeah, there's something here that um, wants to go deeper, but seems to get distracted often. I guess going deeper into meditation or going deeper into inquiry. But there's a huge longing here for awakening. And I remember, Angelo, during the retreat you had interacted with somebody during the Q&A on the subject of um, actually, I can't remember. I feel as if it was authenticity. Um, so yeah, I guess there's a desire to go deeper, but I find myself getting distracted, and especially after the retreat, the online retreat. That's those habits seem to be coming up again. Um, so any advice would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Sure. Do you want to start, Pamela, or would you like me to?
I'll be happy to. If yeah,
Okay.
that's fine. Um, so I've definitely been there many times, and what I can say is that you can do what you can do. Um, and it's like don't beat yourself up for like whatever happens because it's kind of like it's just what's happening. And I'm learning more and more through this process that um, what happens is just fine, actually. So it makes it much because it's like it I remember spending a lot of energy and time kind of beating myself up, especially after retreats, because it's like reality kind of slams you and like your old bad habits kind of slam you and like people start triggering you and it's like, where's my peace? And it's like, well, when I worked with ayahuasca a couple years ago, they talked about pruebas, which are like tests. So it's like um, retreats can be like psychedelic in their own way, basically. I mean, it's kind of a almost another way to just access these sort of strange states of being. not strange, but like different than what we're used to. And then maybe we get some insights, but then come the tests, the pruebas. So, and part of the test is like not to beat yourself up about the fact that it's hard to be human. You know, it's just, it's sticky. It's, um, it's not something that you can just like, okay, done with that. You know, it takes a while. It's a process. Um, so the first several retreats I did, it was very much like that. Just like, afterwards, it's like, oh, it's even worse than before, in some ways. But then it's kind of like it sort of, you get on this high with the retreat or whatever, and then there's kind of a low, and then it kind of goes back to baseline, but it's a little bit of a different baseline. And then you can kind of just keep building on that each time. That's been my experience.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah.
Hey, Micah. So I agree with everything she said, and yeah, it's kind of an unfortunate side effect, or maybe just a necessary side effect of this whole process is there's a lot of self doubt and self second guessing and feeling like you're doing something wrong and all that. And the one question I wanted to ask is to key in a little bit on what you said that you get distracted. I'm curious, what is it? Not what you get distracted with, but what are you distracting yourself from? If you just feel into that question, what
Mhm.
comes up for you?
Yeah, I suppose it's being present with my experience, whatever that experience might be. Um, so the presence with yeah, the energetic experience of life.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Let's go one more step. So, if you stay with the energetic experience or the presence
Hmm.
and just feel into your intuition on this, what could happen? What might happen?
Well, I don't know.
That's right. How does it feel to not know?
It's actually not. It's not bad.
Right. That's right.
It's yeah. It's freeing. It's like a burden's kind of been lifted off.
Hmm. All I'll tell you, I'm going to tell you something very, very simple. Stay with that. Stay with that vector that we just set up. It's that
Hmm.
easy. Right now. Just do it. That's it. It doesn't take, it's not in the future. It's not something later when you've developed enough practice skills. It's not later when you've gotten over whatever, self doubt and all that. None of that stuff's
Right.
true. You follow that vector inward. You can ask those same questions if you need to. But I saw you enter the mystery. I saw you enter that mysterious pass. So you have access to it. You're not afraid of that. That's good. Stay with it. Some fear could come up. Something else could come up, and it probably will. But just stay with it. Stay with that vector. Okay.
Thank you. Thanks.
You're welcome, my friend. All right. Let's go to. We'll go to the bottom. Jeannie.
There you go. Hey,
Hello.
Angelo. Hey, Pamela.
Hello.
Um, So good to see you both. Um, the retreat was great. A lot of technical difficulties on my side, but it, and some deep despair that probably was the highlight of the retreat after I got past it. But I've started reading Kogan and Esho's book and have found it so inspiring. I'm trying to limit myself to one chapter a day. Super inspiring, and there's really no account of what enlightenment is like. And it got me curious as to why people even try to describe it when you and others have said that it's not like anything they imagined it was going to be anyway. And oftentimes you say there aren't really words for it. So why do people try to describe it?
Well, I don't know why any individual does. I can tell you there are a handful of reasons. The only reason I do it is because I know that it can give you an experiential taste of it. Just like the last gentleman I talked to, it can kind of give you an arrow of experiential exploration somehow, like an intuitive arrow inward
Yeah.
or backward or whatever. That's all. That's the only reason I talk about it. And for me, that was what set off the awakening, was reading literally Kensho experiences from Three Pillars of
Right.
Zen. And then this book, for anyone who's listening, this book is fabulous. It's called In This Body, in This Lifetime. And it's an account of a bunch of Zen nuns going through awakening, going through Kensho, that was recently translated and edited by Esho and Kogan, who are a Zen nun and a Zen monk. But she's from Australia, he's from Poland, and they have a lot of experience with translations. So they translated and edited this book, and it's amazing. It just came out, so check it out for sure. Yeah.
So good.
What about
Yeah,
you though? What is your experience of reading those? Do you have a does it give you a resonance? That's what I think the
oh,
value is. Or
definitely.
yeah,
Definitely. Reminds me similar to the descriptions in Three Pillars of Zen of Kensho, but this one doesn't really have so much so far. So not so much of their experience of what it's like. It's just like, oh, finally, and just the amount of sticking with the practice and not getting distracted, and just
hmm
that's so inspiring to me. And it reminds, since I started out with the Koan Mu, it reminded me that, I feel like over the years I've gotten distracted, and it's like, oh, well, let's try this practice, let's try that practice. And now it feels really good to be coming back to that.
beautiful.
So,
The Zen way, the one pointed
yeah,
approach.
yeah. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you. Let's go to Natalie.
Hi.
Hello.
It's wonderful to meet you. Um, yeah, I've been following you for a long time, but I haven't had this opportunity being in Australia. Uh, it was very fortuitous when you popped up on my page, but unfortunately, it was just before you came to Sydney,
Ah,
so I couldn't come and. So I hope you come back. um, Yeah, I just really wanted to come today, even though it's early here. I wanted to come and meet you. Yeah, just to get so I guess so much from seeing your interactions and videos and reading, and sometimes it really feels like transmission. But just, I guess, wanting that interaction because my process is very intuitive and it has been for a long time and it's very body based. But I have so much doubt. And I know this isn't like it still feels like the pointings are very outside of me. They're not what I think or feel. And often what I think is so wrong and off. And like, for example, I remember you did a video on challenging thought and the connection to thought, and I started doing that, and the pointing was just no go, drop deeply into the body. And I did, which I do anyway, but it was very deeply into the body. And I had the experience of really a breaking apart of my that double up of thinking like I'll get through this time as this me and then this will occur, like that kind of, I don't know if that makes sense, but that kind of, I guess it's the seeker in a lot of ways. But I went through years of difficulty as a sick person, and that was part of this process. And I've come out the other side, and now it feels like when you talk about the unbinding process, that's what's happening. There's just so many challenges in my life that I don't even know. Some of them I don't even know how I'm going to deal with them, and yeah, and so that crumbled, that idea that when I get through this and deal with my shadow, and because I've done a lot of healing and trauma work, that I'll be better and whole, and then I'll come out and I'll be this person. And I always understood what you were saying about the now, like, but underneath was this idea. And so, but with the crumbling of all of that, it's left this doubt and this, well, what is this? Where do I go? Like, and I guess I'm in this position where I just don't, I don't know, like, yeah, I don't know. And I just wanted to meet you and have that face-to-face interaction. You're muted.
Thank you. Pamela, did you want to start or would you like me to start?
You go ahead this time.
Okay. Natalie, can you say hi real quick so I can look at your face?
Yeah.
All right. So a couple of things struck me as you were speaking. But I think what it really comes down to, they're both the same, really. And that is the idea that there's a layer. You even, I think, said it as a layer. You said, I know what the now is. I feel it. I understand it. I get there. I arrive here. You seem to have access to the somatic experience pretty clearly. That's great. But the doubt is sticking out, and the doubt is not. So the doubt is not apart from the part of you that thought it was going to go like this. That it should make me whole. It should. And I think what you said was really clear, that it was kind of buried. You underneath it, you found, oh, wait, I have this belief that this is going to make me whole somehow, or it's going to get me through something, and I'll come out the other side, triumphantly, or with some knowledge or some healed experience. That's common. That's a common belief. And it's directly tied to the doubt, actually. Doubt and belief are two sides of the same coin. But the truth of it is, it's not true. It's a thought.
Yeah.
And that may sound bad, but it turns out to be a good thing. Because the beauty of this is it doesn't actually matter what state you're in. And in fact, disruptions in life or challenges, including physical challenges, illness, and so forth, are really ripe territory for awakening. I don't mean to say that to minimize them, because they're still challenges. You still have to deal with them. You still have to find the way through in the relative world. You will. We all will, until we can't anymore, and then the body dies and we become other life forms, right? But you will continue to meet those challenges in the relative. But in a sense, awakening doesn't really have to do with that, in the sense that It's not trying to fix that or address it. It's not stopped by it. And if anything, it's accelerated by it. But the acceleration is just the disruption. The acceleration is in seeing that, oh man, yeah, this isn't going to go how I thought it was. And I didn't even know how I thought it was going to go. But now I'm starting to see how I thought it was going to go. And if it's not going to do that, what is it doing? What is happening? What is the benefit of this? What is the result of this? And the long and short of that, the horror of it and the beauty of it is I can't tell you because I just can't tell you. Like I literally can't. I can't tell you what it means to me because the meaning now for me at least is obliterated. Like it's so alive right here. I can't tell you what it's about. It's not about anything. It's complete immersion. So it turns out to be a good deal, but it's not going to give you anything you thought you needed. But that's good because what you thought you needed was based on a doubt and a fear of what you didn't have in the first place. So I think largely seeing that the doubt and the belief, even the buried beliefs about what you need out of this, those are two sides of the same coin, and they're both essentially thoughts. They're both essentially unexamined belief. One belief that I can't, one belief that is that I need to, one belief is I'm stopped from going where I need to go, and the other belief is I can get to that place some other way. But I think it's important to point out to you that you're already seeing underneath that. You're seeing underneath that. And when you see underneath that belief, you've already arrived. Like, what is here without doubt or expectation right now? When you set aside doubt and you set aside expectation, what is revealed? Go wherever you need to go for that answer, wherever you naturally go. It's not a mental answer. A mental answer would be another belief. It's not a mental, there's no need to go anywhere, right? How's that feel?
Oh, amazing. And that's the thing, when I come back, I just feel so much being here,
Yeah.
so much being here.
So stay in that gap.
Yeah.
And one way of staying in the gap is attuning to what seems like it's closing the gap. Like there's a belief on one side and a doubt on the other. Those aren't bad. Those aren't curses. Those are pointers. Those are saying, look, it's not a belief and it's also not a doubt. Those are thoughts. And then you can drop right in between.
And things point me back, like the sound of birds point me back. They say, come back. But then the doubt goes, no, that's a bird.
That's right. Yep. And just see, okay, that's just a doubt. And that doubt is tied to the next thought. The next thought's going to be like, okay, how do I get out of the doubt? How do I fix the doubt? How do I get past it? Right? It's just like a slinky, like one after the other. Just stop following it at some point. But the way you stop following it is exactly what you said. You turn toward the birds. More and more.
And you just listen.
Not through effort. Not through effort, through openness. Through the feminine aspect. Just notice the openness that's already here everywhere. The aperture's open. Let it just completely come alive right now.
Yeah, because that's one thing I find when you talk about that feminine aspect and that surrender, and for like, because sometimes when you talk about people's like questioning from the mind and you address that, I go into doubt, and then the what's given to me is surrendered into love, because I start going on about, oh, I wish I could just smash. I think I said under one of your videos, I wish I could smash through the door, like the glass. I wish I could see it and just smash it, because but it's not that for me. I was told surrender into love. That was the answer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's nothing really to smash so much for you.
I know.
It's more of intuition, yeah.
Mm.
That's how I feel, at least talking to you right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, just trust that attunement.
Yeah, thank you. The doubt's huge.
Mm-hmm. It is, but it's a thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can formulate it too. What does the doubt say? You can ask it. If doubt is this big specter, just talk to it. What do you want to say? You know, and the doubt may say, the doubt is I'm just not good enough for this.
Fear is where it goes, I tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing. What does the fear say? The fear says, I'm going to lose my faculties. I'm going to lose my mind. This is going to destroy me. I don't know what it says, but you know, we can turn toward anything really. If
Yeah.
it's just poking us on the shoulder, don't keep trying to get away from it either. Just turn toward it, see what it's saying, and realize it's causally related to belief and seeking. Doubt is trying to move away from something in a way, seeking is trying to move towards something, but it's all thought based. It's distortion of thought. Because in this, you can't move toward or away. There's nothing apart. How would you? Right? You're already all of it, so to speak. So
Mm.
cool. Pamela, did you want to say anything?
Yes. So as far as the wanting to smash things, I definitely felt that too. Like I wanted to drive a stake through my heart and just get rid of whatever was there, like some kind of energetic stake. And, I found that actually that frustration, that anger, that helplessness, forget the heart for a minute, feel into that frustration and that like deep wanting to like get this done now, like stick of this shadow word, whatever crap. That in itself is, I mean, that's a whole shadow itself, it's another layer of it.
Mm.
And this might be a little bit direct, but I'm finding that like the closer I get to the present moment, the more it seems like a miracle that there's any illusion of continuity at all. And there's absolutely no guarantee that even I'm going to live the next second, much less have plans that are going to go on for years and heal and this and that, right? So, and I had 3 either minor traffic accidents or near traffic accidents in the past week. It is almost like the universe is kind of nudging me, like death is pretty close, like not as in like I'm gonna die imminently, I hope, but as in like I don't have any guarantee that I'm not. So I don't know. It's like it's sort of maybe it's a coincidence, maybe it's a cosmic joke, maybe like nothing, um, but either way, it kind of tapped me on the shoulder, and it's like there's really nothing I can say about the future at all. So um, yeah, and then I've had to go through several fear barriers related to that. So just the energetics going through the body, So yeah, those are my thoughts.
Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to Vicky.
Sorry, can you hear me?
I sure can. How you doing?
I'm nervous.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if you remember me. Sorry, I have a candy in my
Sure.
mouth, but I'm not sure if you remember me from the retreat, but yeah, I was very hyper last time, so sorry about
Yeah, I
that.
remember you.
But yeah, but so basically, let me just spit this out for. Okay, so basically, I think I have like one long question and maybe like a non-question, also like a short question. But so basically, my long question is so like there's this these like groups hosted by Vince, which is who is an awakened teacher. And he's like maybe like 70, 80 years old, and he had a lot of knowledge about this. He's taught like a lot of students, and it took him like around like 50 years to get awakened or something like that. And what he advises his students to do is to go into the flow state. Do not like meditate if you don't want to. There's no shoulds or shouldn'ts. There's nothing you should do like or just like completely and the best thing to do is to not chase, not try, not seek. Because when you seek, like it gets further away from you. So he's basically saying like there was this one student that's like very stuck. So then he advised that student to completely go into like a sleep mode, which is like just watch videos that are not related to awakening. Just like make like engage in hobbies that are not related to awakening. Like don't meditate, don't do self inquiry, like just like stuff like that. And and well, for me, like I've watched like a lot of videos on Ramana Maharshi, Anna Male, like just like the saints in the past, and they've all said like, oh, meditation is the syllabus of the higher class, or not as in like a derogatory way, but just like there's like I don't know, maybe lower class would be like reading scripture, and then the higher class would be actually doing the meditation. And I also read that I've also watched that people just say like, oh, like your knowledge doesn't matter. Like what actually matters is you put in the work and like actually silence your mind and just put yourself in stillness. And that's how you're going to awaken. So I feel like there's just two contradictory methods here. And the last thing I'll say is just that yesterday when I asked the universe if I should go easier on myself and follow my spiritual teacher's advice, a moth flew into my face and I heard a ring in my right ear, which are both spiritual signs for me. So I feel like I might actually go that way, which is like meditate less. And because I don't like meditating, like meditating gives me a lot of suffering. Like one apt way of putting it is like, this student said like, oh, like it's like suffering in order not to suffer. So that's how meditation feels like for me. So yeah, I think I might just go into like less meditation, but I'm very scared of kind of skimping on that. So I just want to get your advice on it.
Sure. Thank you. Hey, Pamela, did you want to start? Would you like me to start?
I'd love to start. Um, so I'm not going to lie, I don't do a lot of meditating outside of retreats. And when I do, it's often like lying on my back, kind of feeling energetics move through. Like it's nothing structured. It's no particular, or just washing dishes and paying attention to the sensations and the sights and the sounds and that kind of thing. So like as far as methods, there's like an infinite number of methods. It's like there's no way you have to do it. But one, I guess you could call it a technique that I used before the December retreat that I think was a really good lead into it was like, don't second guess my instinct, even if my instinct is eat chocolate, right? If I really want to eat chocolate, I'm gonna eat fucking chocolate. If I want to go to yoga class, go to yoga class. I want to go for a walk, go for a walk. I want to skip the dishes, I skip the dishes. It's just sort of like just being like a little kid, just sort of wandering around like, what do I want to do next? You know, that for me, I mean, that was a really, really fruitful technique. And I don't necessarily, well, I mean, I guess I kind of do that in general more and more, but as sort of like consciously doing it, it was really useful for me. So that's my advice, maybe. Not sure.
All right. I love it. Um, yeah, my reflection is along the lines of Pamela, and that is, I guess what I noticed as I listened to you is like you're looking for it feels a little bit like you're looking for someone else to give you a map, or which map is right, is it this teacher or that? And I think that's very common. Early on, it's very common to look at all this and go, well, he's saying not meditate at all. That and Zen, all they do is meditate. And Dzogchen says it's all about learning the words first, and then Angelo's saying just turn toward your true nature sometimes, like whatever, right? So there's all these contradictory things, and the mind gets sort of bound up in that, like, oh God, it's so confusing, and it resonates with your confusion that's already there and your doubt. So it makes it so daunting. And yet I know there's something in you that knows where to go. And that may just be as simple as just what Pamela said. What's the next thing you just feel inclined to do? Just do it and notice that's what happened. And there's nothing else that could have happened. And then do the next thing. And at some point you'll start to see like, it's actually simpler than we think. You will do what you're going to do. You even if you tell yourself you're not going to meditate, maybe you will anyway, or vice versa. So notice what Pamela said. And then the only other thing I'll add to that is that you have some intuition in there for sure, because everybody does. And see if you can just attune to it. Attune to something that's saying, it's saying like, I don't have to listen to exactly what my teacher says. I don't have to listen to exactly what Angelo says. I don't have to listen to exactly what Zen says. Those pointers help me because they help me resonate with something. But there is something in here that actually knows where to go. It knows how to move forward. It knows what to do next. It knows when to meditate and how to meditate. And it trusts that if I don't meditate, that's okay too. So my inclination is to attune to a kind of trust in yourself. even if it's in the most simple, practical way that Pamela just described. Does that help?
Yeah, like what Pamela is saying is actually a spiritual mm, also teaching, but like not maybe also method. But I heard it before. Like people say like follow your highest excitement. So and then that worked out very well for this one person. But I mean, I think what like resonates with me the most is kind of like what you guys said. It's just like how do you phrase it? Like just observe what happened. So I think like that's maybe what resonates for me. Yeah. So then
Mhm.
basically what you said. So
Very
yeah.
good. All right. Let me know how it goes.
Okay. And can I ask one last question? Just a short
Yeah,
one.
sure.
So like I walk really slow. Is that like spiritually a good thing?
It's perfect. It's perfectly fine.
Okay.
Thich Nhat Hanh would say it's a great thing. He would say often like anything you do at home, simple tasks, housekeeping, whatever you're doing, washing dishes, drinking tea. Sometimes he would suggest do it at half speed. Treat it like a rite, RITE, like a treat it with like this reverence and feel into what you're doing. You know, look more closely. That slowing down itself can dial us into presence. So yeah,
Mhm.
if your intuition is to do that, that's great.
All right. Thank you. Thank you guys.
You're welcome. Nice to see you. All right, let's go to Bridge.
Hey, Angelo. Hey,
Hey, buddy.
Pamela. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Um, let's see. So I've done like 18 months of a lot of shadow work, like all the time, every day, which has been great. You know, things are pretty clear generally, like to use your words, maybe like one doing and total exertion in these things are definitely seeping their way into daily life. Um, So the question is like, this is in contrast to dreaming, where it feels very contracted generally and very sort of like there's just a lot of karmic selfing going on in dreams to the extent where I'll wake up and there's almost like a residue and a releasing that needs to happen. Like every day I wake up. So is there something to do about that, or it'll just unwind naturally over time? Any reflections there?
I just have a simple reflection and then we can see what Pamela wants to say. But my simple reflection is, you know, you can orient toward the unconscious in that way in the way of gratitude for bringing it to you. Even dream sleep can be shadow work. That's what it's doing.
Hmm.
So it's valuable, right? If you can't, anything that, for me at least, anything that brings something into my consciousness or my experience that I wasn't aware of, I'm grateful for it. And things get subtler. It gets harder to see this stuff sometimes, and there's less of it. You will feel more and more of this total exertion and so forth. So anything that allows you to bring scrape the bottom and bring something up, it's like awesome. That's my opinion.
Cool.
Yeah, I just want to agree that nowadays when something really deeply triggers me, it's like gold in my pocket. It's like, sweet, okay, got it. Yeah, like this is the next thing. So yeah. And that's not always fun. I'm not gonna say it's always fun. It's not. But it's like it's the next thing, you know.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I can feel the gratitude in that. I think that's actually just a really nice reframing rather than feeling like I'm fighting somehow with the dreams. Um,
Everything at this stage and beyond is about looking, is there even a little bit of resistance in the system anywhere anymore? Is there something about the way I'm processing that there's some resistance, like it shouldn't be here? That's it.
yeah, there's just like a subtle, like little thing there you touched, which is helpful.
Perfect.
Uh, Thank you both. Much love.
Much love, my friend. Let's go to Jahira.
Hi.
Hello.
One second, of course, is the moment my child knocks on the door, is the moment you call on me.
Totally fine. Murphy's Law. I like your squishmallow over there. I have a few
Oh,
squishmallows
thank
around
you.
the
Yeah,
house too.
that's hers. Big squishies all over
Beautiful.
the place in my house. 10 million stuffed animals that
Hmm.
don't get played with much, but that's
Oh,
okay.
cute.
I'm gonna close the door.
Sure.
Okay. So, um, I'm having the thought now that I wanted to close the door because I don't want my husband to hear me because, um, you know, he's got his own kind of judgment. Um, and so, and I'm noticing that thought because when I had that glimpse and that experience of like, all the thoughts are on top of this. So this is just like me on the phone talking, and then that's on top of this, right? And as well as everything else in existence, that like every analysis of this simplicity of like, you know, sitting on the bed and seeing your face on the computer is just speculation and not real. And it was so clear and so beautiful. And then more recently, with my little boy's leg pain, it's been so fucking hard. And like we've been talking about already, how like, like she just said, like when I notice these triggering moments, it's like the gold or whatever. And it's just like, I think that like I I got on the call to ask like like kind of like a refresher course about what she said also about how like, you know, sorry, that next moment, like you don't know, you just don't know, right? Like I wanted you to remind me, like in a conceptual way, that like of what I had seen back then, of like, gosh, like when his pain comes and I'm resisting it, and I just am resisting it so much. Um, there's the story about, oh my God, like what's gonna happen, and like what if this is something serious, and like it's just all this fear, right, and this doubt, and like um so I kind of wanted like a refresher course, but I think that like the reality is that I'm comparing this because I saw back then that this is it, but I'm comparing this it to that, and like I'm saying, oh, why can't it be like that, right? Like, but I think that okay, so I think um that like this resistance and this fucking awful feeling when my baby is hurting and like howling in pain is also it. And it's not supposed to be like that flowy, this is it. It's supposed to be like this, even this pain is it, right? Because I think that I was looking for like to be like okay with it. Because I was so okay with everything when that had that glimpse. Like everything was like, of course, like this is fine. It's totally fine. But when I'm in that, like, oh no, like it's like, no, it's not supposed to be like this, but it
Yeah.
is. It
Mhm.
is, right?
Yes. So the
Okay.
equanimity of realization that you remember. We'll just talk about it in terms of that, like the way you remember it right now. A lot of times I would just say, forget about it. It's gone. You're never getting it back because you're not, because it's a memory. But let's talk about the equanimity of realization that does happen. That equanimity is an equanimity, in a sense, it's an equanimity of exclusion because what it's doing is it's excluding everything that used to bind you up into time, into doership, into struggle that is completely time based and thought based. And so you're sort of freed from that. So you're sort of excluding all those those things that were pushing you around and causing you to struggle, realizing it's all just consciousness. But this part of realization is a realization of inclusion. So now you have the wonderful and sometimes extremely challenging and tricky in a way, and subtle challenge of finding the freedom and release and non-grasping in the myriad experiences. It's a completely different type of awakening. That awakening happened. That awakening was a blowout. That awakening was clear and it's never going anywhere. This awakening, however, is one that has to be in the myriad of experiences as they appear, how they appear, and seeing that what happens is the resistance now is seen very clearly. The resistance that made you go up into the mind and turn reality into an inner world that you started to break with that first realization. Now you're actually seeing the resistance pattern directly, just like what I talked to a minute ago, I think, with the previous person. It's like you start to see there's actually a little bit of resistance there. And if there's a little bit of resistance, it's going to feel very intense and very obvious to you from now on. It's going to get more and more intense and more obvious, actually. And of course, life is really genius at presenting you with challenges that are going to make things feel very intense, like your child being in pain. You know, there are things that could be more intense than that, but that's pretty high on the scale, right? You know, disruptions in life, things that just aren't going your way at all. Like that's not going your way. Of course, no parent wants their child to go through that, and yet here you are in that situation. Now, I'm not saying life is doing that to you on purpose. I'm not saying anything like that, but I'm saying there is something genius about this process that it tends to put us in the exact right situation where we now have the ability to find what the resistance pattern is in any given experience and see that we can actually have that experience without the resistance. It's possible. And it's pretty much what you said, that this is just one more form of presence. Presence comes in this beautiful, blissful, oceanic state and experience and form. It also comes as pain. Presence also comes as physical pain. It just does. And we can't deny that. Or else, if we deny that, we're denying the nature of presence itself, right? Which is absurd. So presence is actually in every form. And you will see this. You will thoroughly sort of digest this. But it can be uncomfortable and there can be resistance to it. So specifically to this, you can address this resistance through feeling it, and you're already doing it and seeing how you're responding. And we've been through this as well. And that is good work. It's good somatic work. You can also address it through the beliefs. What belief comes up when you see your child in pain? What does it mean about you? I know what it means about him. I know the compassion and the heartbreak of it and wanting to do something. But what does it mean about you when your child's feeling that pain and you're stuck, essentially?
It means that I'm helpless. Like I'm
Yeah.
helpless.
And what happens when you're helpless?
I just
Like,
don't want to be helpless. I want to help
right.
him.
That's right. And why don't you want to be helpless? Go to your own programming with this.
Okay. Then yeah, I mean, why don't I want to be helpless? Because I want to control.
What happens when you're helpless? Or what could
Oh, what
happen?
happens? Then I
Like,
could die, I guess.
that's right. You could die. Hmm.
Or okay, or I would, or then I can't help him, so I could let him die or something,
Hmm.
and then I might have to like feel more pain or something.
Hmm.
If I'm helpless, then I have to feel more pain.
Yeah, that's right. Hmm. Yeah.
But the pain is the presence too.
Yeah. Yep. Feeling into these things is really important, um, especially when the situation is one of compassion, is one about another. Um, I talk in this space with people who've had a loss of a loved one a lot of times where there's something holding on for a long time afterward. It's causing ongoing suffering. And what I'm usually trying to lead that person back to is that, yes, it is about that other person, but it's actually primarily about themselves. That, for instance, if someone's lost a loved one, a family member, let's say years ago, and something about it is still clinging, still holding on in a way that feels like there's still ongoing suffering beyond what seems necessary, a lot of times I lead them to see that what they're actually afraid of is their own death. because yeah, that they can't let go of that person in their mind. They're like, I can't let go because I'm the only one that's holding on still to that person. I can't, if I let go of them, it's like they really finally die. And it's like, well, can you see that everyone you know is going to die? And so are you, and in 50 years, 100 years, probably very few people are going to remember any of us at all. In a couple hundred years, for sure, we'll be a name somewhere, but we won't be in anyone's consciousness anymore. It's all going away. So that may not be your process, but seeing how it's hooked up in you and about you is really key. Because I already know you're doing everything you can do. I already know you're a good mother. I already know you care. I already know it's heartbreaking. I already know all that, right? But what I want to know is, and what's the part about you in there that isn't fully seen yet? Because I think it is there. There's something, and sometimes you see it in pieces. It's like you open one door and you see a little bit of light shines in, and then another door from a different direction. But I would recommend using those inquiry methods of just going back and going, okay, what am I afraid of here? Or if you're angry about it, maybe you're angry about it in the moment. What am I angry about? If you feel frustrated, what do you feel frustrated about? And it seems obvious, sure, but track it back into you. Go to your body for the answers and just keep going. Keep going with that because you have the wherewithal and you have the somatic attunement. And I think you can continue to like deconstruct this more.
Oh, thank you so much.
That's what I've got. You're welcome. Pamela, what
Yeah.
you got?
Just an example of what you're talking about, which is like something outside of you seeming to be, finding the part of it that's about you. Um, I have slash had a tendency to be fixated on political stuff and, kids dying and this and that. And
I saw your YouTube.
yeah. So, oh, you saw the video about that particular subject? Yeah. Okay.
I mean, when I was scrolling through the older ones, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, yeah, basically, just to summarize, it's like, my parents, it was like I had to make sure they were safe so that I could feel safe. And now it's like I have to make sure the whole world is safe before I can feel safe. And there's another shadow to that as well, which is it's like feeling selfish to like think about, to try to put the entire world into, my little internal drama context. So I had to work through that as well. Um, so it's like, because it's like, no, but it should be about somebody else. It's like, no, it's about you actually. Oh, yeah, I got
Thank you, Pamela. That's a perfect example. And it's a way it shows up. And it shows up this way for people who are genuinely compassionate. It's like your compassion gets co-opted in a way by the way the mind's putting things together. And of course you care about that. And at the same time, the seething anger underneath may not be fully about that, right? That's the key with this is to be authentic to yourself and give yourself the gift of finding the truth. That's it. Yeah. All right, let's go to where are we at here? Let's go down to Marcus.
Hey, Angelo and Pamela, you can hear me?
I sure can. Yeah, how
All
you doing?
right. I'm good. I'm long time listener, first time caller.
All
Um,
right.
so yeah, so I I grew up in a family of intellectuals, and in addition to that, childhood trauma taught me to everything below here was a scary, uncomfortable no man's land, best ignored or distracted from. And I think I spent the first 50 years of my life distracting myself from it as best I could. Um, I'm also autistic, so I have that hypersensitivity to, oh, my clothes, I'm never comfortable. And, an itch is like, for me, is like what pain is for, all for most people. So got that. And, to my amazement, after living this way for so long, I discovered that my main, my most powerful sense is the body sense. I was in therapy, and we would do sort of like 5 minutes of somatic experiencing at the beginning, and then go into talk therapy, and that became 10 minutes, and then half of the session, and then all but the last 10 minutes. And then my therapist and I kind of agreed that to stop therapy, and I started working with a trauma informed yoga instructor instead. But that's been life changing and fantastic. I got into TRE, so that's part of my practice. And one of my main sitting practices is still kind of open body awareness. So all of that is has been just totally remarkable, and I feel like a different person. So that's kind of background. Maybe 2 years ago, I very briefly decided to try TM, just out of curiosity. It was a kind of meditation I'd never done before, and I didn't stick with it for very long. But something about that made Kriyas start. I heard you on the live talk to somebody who was experiencing that. So very dramatic, um, arms just jumping up into the air and head thrown back. I mean, very, very dramatic, like one every 2 or 3 seconds the entire time. So I stopped TM, and it's like the Kriyas followed me to every single practice and have never stopped. Um, so I can sometimes just think I'm about to meditate now, and they'll start. Like, oh, it's our turn. We'll take over. Um, they're not painful or scary, but I it feels like doing something like single pointed meditation or something like that. It's kind of impossible, because it's if I try to concentrate or focus on anything, it's like a little kid like tugging at my sleeve every 3 seconds. So I'm sort of I don't quite know what to do. I sort of vacillate between just, okay, I'm just going to give over to the Kriyas, and that's what this is going to be about. And so I'm sort of sitting, waiting for the next one, and then it happens. And then other times just trying to go, no, I'm going to focus on the breath or whatever else. And then I'm frustrated, because then the little kid is like, no, no, me. And I sort of mostly try to just be present with whatever is happening. But the whole feeling is really like being tugged, and like it's sort of upended my practice. Maybe it's good that that happened, but I sort of don't know what to do with this. Kind of like an earlier person here too, I also have heard, like, I guess from sort of Zen practice, that, oh, the Kriyas, they're fine, but they're just kind of a distraction, like a thought. Um, there's something about the stuff that goes on in my body. My intuition is no, follow that. Like it's like so potent, and it's been ignored for so long in my life. So I guess I sort of just don't know what to do at this point, or whether I need to do anything other than just kind of see what happens.
All right. Pamela, did you like to, do you want to say something?
Sure. So I have no idea if there's like a general theory of Kriyas slash
Mhm.
Kundalini or whatever. I haven't really looked into that like theoretically, but I can say my own experience. It started for me um, about a year and a half ago, and I like as I said before, I'm not much of a sort of daily meditator as far as sitting on a cushion with my spine erect. But I mean, I think lying on my bed, wiggling around, it's just as good, you know. It's just like it's letting energy move. It feels good. It You have plenty to, you know, focus on or experience. I mean, there's many different kind of meditation too. Uh, so I mean, you can have washing dishes meditation. You can have shikantaza where you can do it like do that while you're doing anything at all. So I mean, in my opinion, in my experience, yeah, I'd say follow your intuition. Yeah.
Mm. Thank you.
And maybe
Yeah,
like spend as
Marcus.
much time per day as you have on that because it helps energy move through, it helps. And it's almost like for free because it's like you don't have to do anything. It's just happening. Yeah.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Pamela.
I totally agree. It's just listening to you, it's like, okay, you have a clear attunement to the somatic. You have essentially dropped or mostly dropped resistance to the somatic experience, which is challenging, especially if you're autistic. And I think there are some theories about this, but I find it to be reasonably accurate. And I find working with autistic people is pretty easy for awakening, a lot of times easier than neurotypical for a couple reasons. But one thing I think is actually true about autistic people is that I don't think they develop a full sense of self in the way others do. And I think that's part of it. So when you're growing up and the senses are so invasive and you're trying to hold a self together, it's very confusing, right? It's like it's
Mm.
overloading and overwhelming. But then later on, it's actually to your benefit when you realize, like, oh, wow, the vastness in this somatic experience is this ocean of feeling, and it has so much more capacity than the mind, so much more. And it has more intuition and all of that. You're already like really developed there. You're mature in this, and that's great.
Mm.
The other thing I wanted to say is similar to what Pamela said. It's like at some point, all this stuff kind of becomes the same. Like to me, movement and stillness and seated meditation and movement meditation and mindfulness and presence, they're all pretty much interwoven now. So, there are subtle differences from when I sit versus when I'm up and moving, but less and less and less over time. So, some of this is really just finding your own pace with it. You can do intuitive movement. You can let intuitive movement start to guide the Kriyas. You can let the Kriyas guide intuitive movement. You can sit for a bit and just see. I wouldn't try to suppress anything, but sit for a bit and just see how the Kriyas come, then get up and move with them, and then come back and sit if it feels like they've worked themselves through. Really just move through all this intuitively. Develop your own practice. You may be the guy who
Mm.
comes up with something that you can teach other people who maybe have autism and Kriyas, or just something that works with Kriyas that other people haven't figured out. Because it can be tricky. But I will tell you, and you probably know this, I think you're past this largely, is the biggest thing with Kriyas or Kundalini is don't resist it. People who have a lot
Yeah.
of like cognitive resistance to it, that's where they really become problematic. You seem like you're pretty much at peace with the fact that they're there, and that's 90% of the battle. And it'll change. Things change. Things tend to settle with Kriyas over time. It can take a while, but they tend to settle and so forth. But they're just part of this unbinding process. They're part of the energetics rearranging themselves. And just looking at you, listening to you talk, I think you're in a good place, man.
Thank you so much.
And I would add, just from my experience, it has settled down quite a bit for me. And it's also like it's like an old friend. It's like as normal as walking. It's just a thing that happens sometimes. It's not a big deal.
Thank you.